Ibrahim Traoré just discovered his own wife was spying on him. It began with a whisper, not a voice, but a digital one, an anomaly picked up by the Cyber Integrity Division, a tiny packet of data moving where it should not. For 3 days it evaded detection, cleverly masked as normal household traffic. But on the 4th day, Chief Analyst Nina Coulibaly noticed a pattern. Encrypted messages pulsing out from the private residence of the president himself. She hesitated. Even among the highest circles of Broken Abbey intelligence, the presidential family was considered sacred ground. But this was not politics. It was espionage. And the signature? A rare triple encryption used only by certain foreign intelligence services that had long viewed Traoré as an obstacle to their designs on West Africa. When the report landed on his desk, Ibrahim Traoré's expression did not change. He read it twice. Then he ordered 2 things: a total lockdown of all residents' communications and absolute secrecy. Not a word to the council. Not a word to my staff, he told Cool, until we know everything. Over the next 48 hours. The trap was set. A stealth team embedded inside the villa, posing as technicians. A forensic sweep uncovered the source. A modified personal tablet belonging to none other than Mayam Traoré, his wife. Beautiful, poised, educated in Europe, Mariam had long been regarded as the ideal First Lady, loved by the people, adored in state media. But now, her device revealed a hidden app disguised as a meditation tracker, transmitting coded voice notes and surveillance data to an unknown server in Morocco. The recordings included sensitive political conversations, even excerpts from private war room strategy sessions. The betrayal cut deep. But Traoré was no fool. He knew that rage would serve no purpose. Instead, he needed answers. Who had turned her? Why? And was she truly a traitor or a pawn in a much bigger game? Late that night, he summoned his closest ally, Colonel Salif. Zongo, head of the Panther Intelligence Unit. Together, they reviewed every scrap of evidence. The server address traced to a known front company used by the DGSSE French intelligence. But the voice transcripts hinted at more. There were references to the Lisbon Accord, a covert plan to undermine sovereign African governments through personal infiltration. It was worse than he thought. This was not merely a betrayal of love, it was an attack on the very heart of his presidency. The why Mariam? That question haunted him. He thought back to her sudden trips to visit family in Rabat last year, to the European Charity Gala where she had met the enigmatic cultural advisor from Paris, to the increasing pressure from certain embassies warning him to moderate his reforms. All fit. Now came the hardest choice. Confront her or play the game and let her reveal the full network. In the end, the warrior in him decided, wait. A new operation was born, Project Veil. For the next 2 weeks, Ibrahim played the role of the unaware husband. Dinners continued. Public appearances remained flawless. But behind the scenes, every message Mariam sent, every meeting she attended was tracked, logged, analyzed. And then, a breakthrough. A coded message was intercepted confirming a dead drop scheduled in 2 days in the old quarter of Ouagadougou. The message referred to the final package. Whatever this was, it would expose everything. But danger loomed. If he acted too early, the network would scatter. If too late, the damage could be irreversible. Traoré made his move at dawn. Disguised as a Planello officer, he joined the Panther Unit surveillance team. No aids, no protection. Only trust and steel. As the clock ticked toward the meeting, the entire presidency hung in the balance. Would Mariam walk into the trap? Would the foreign handlers appear? And above all, Would Ibrahim Traoré's personal world collapse, or would he turn this betrayal into a weapon? In Part 2, we follow the operation's climax, the moment when shadows meet truth. Don't miss what happens next. Subscribe to the voice of Ibrahim Traoré, because sometimes the most dangerous enemies are those closest to the heart. The only place where you will hear the real story behind the headlines, beneath the surface. Asterisk if you haven't subscribed. Do it now, because this is the kind of tale no one else dares to tell. Asterisk and today. The shadows close in. Asterisk. The mission was simple in principle, impossible in execution. Intercept the dead drop, unmask the handlers, protect the presidency. Asterisk all. Without alerting Mariam Traoré that the trap was set, the chosen location, Volga-Doug's old quarter, a maze of narrow streets, artisan stalls, and colonial-era balconies. The perfect cover for spies and secrets. The time, 15 o'clock sharp. Market day. The Panther unit moved like ghosts, embedded among vendors and tourists. Overhead, a discreet surveillance drone tracked every movement. Asterisk in the command van, Ibrahim Traoré himself watched, headphones on, eyes fixed on the screen. His wife's signal was live, the modified tablet still transmitting. At 14:52, Miami emerged, draped in a blue hijab, sunglasses shielding her face. No escort, no security, just another citizen in the market. Or so it appeared. Asterisk Traoré's chest tightened. It was one thing to suspect betrayal, another to witness it unfold. But his voice remained steady. Hold positions. No engagement until a package changes hands. Asterisk at 14:57, the contact arrived, a European man in his 50s. Linen suit, carrying a satchel. The facial scan confirmed what intelligence feared, a DGS-SE field operative, coding name Marcel. A veteran of African destabilization campaigns. Dangerous. Precise. Asterisk. The exchange was quick. A discreet pass beneath a vendor's awning, a black USB drive tucked into Mariam's purse. The final package. Asterisk, but then a second signal. Another phone. On the move, pinging the same control server as Miami's device. Unknown, unregistered, and moving toward the presidency. A decoy. The plot was deeper than expected. Traoré made the call. Alpha team, tail the second signal. Beta, intercept Marcel. I'll handle the primary. Asterisk against protocol. Against every security doctrine. Ibrahim left the van, disguised. In civilian clothes. Armed with only a sidearm and iron will, he moved into the market. Asterisk time slowed. Heart pounding, he followed Mariam's path through the stalls, the crowd oblivious to the silent war unfolding among them. At 15:08, she entered a side alley, the prearranged exfiltration route. Asterisk Traoré moved. With a signal to Beta team, the street was sealed. No sirens, no chaos. Only shadows and steel. Asterisk and then, face to face. Ibrahim stepped into the alley, blocking her path. Asterisk, Mariam. Asterisk, one word. One world collapsing. Asterisk, her eyes widened, not in surprise, but in understanding. The game was up. The USB in her purse burned like a brand. Asterisk, for a moment, no words came. Only the hum of betrayal in the air. Finally, she spoke, softly, bitterly. You always were one step ahead. Asterisk, but Ibrahim's gaze was cold steel. Not enough, it seems. Asterisk, at that moment, Marcel attempted escape, but Beta team closed in. A brief scuffle. Shot suppressed. The agent detained. Asterisk across town. Alpha intercepted the second signal. a courier carrying a duplicate package intended to be a fallback if the primary was compromised. Redundancy, the hallmark of professional espionage. The operation was a full-scale assault on the presidency, personal, political, psychological. But now it lay in ruins, and Miriam, the woman he had trusted above all, stood exposed. Yet Ibrahim did not lash out. Instead, he issued one order, secure her. No harm, because in this game, information was worth more than vengeance. That night, in a secured chamber beneath the intelligence directorate, the interrogations began. Marcel cracked first under expert pressure. He revealed the network, a joint op between DGSSE and a rogue EU task force. Goal: to destabilize Traoré's government by compromising his inner circle, sowing mistrust, and forcing early elections favorable to foreign interests. Miriam's recruitment had begun 2 years earlier, during a humanitarian conference in Rabi. Blackmail, flattery, pressure, a slow seduction into treachery. But the real shock came from the second courier's package, a trove of blackmail files, deep fakes, and media scripts prepared to discredit Traoré should the mission fail. This was no small plot. This was war, fought with whispers instead of bullets. Yet in the face of it, Ibrahim Traoré remained unbroken. In Part 3, we will follow the aftermath, the political firestorm, the global fallout, and the moment when Traoré turns the tables on those who dared to use his wife against him. Subscribe now to The Voice of Ibrahim Traoré, because the real battle is just beginning, where truth cuts deeper than betrayal. If you're watching this, you know, the enemies of Africa do not rest, and neither do we. If you haven't subscribed, do it now. Because in today's chapter, the hunted becomes the hunter. The day after the failed dead drop, Ouagadougou simmered beneath the surface. International embassies buzzed. News channels speculated. And behind closed doors, foreign agents scrambled to assess the fallout. But at the heart of it all, Ibrahim Traoré sat in silence. Not broken, not defeated, but calculating. He had not simply lost a wife. He had uncovered a weapon, and now he would use it. By noon, the captured agent Marcel was under full interrogation. The files retrieved from both dead drops painted a damning picture. Names, accounts, operatives embedded across multiple West African states. All part of a broader operation codenamed Orchid Fall. Its goal: destabilize nationalist governments, reassert economic dominance, and most chilling of all, ensure Burkina Faso's new resource laws never came into force. But Traoré wanted more than evidence. He wanted leverage, and so, with surgical precision, his team crafted a false narrative that Marcel had broken completely, that Miriam was cooperating, and that Burkina Faso's intelligence service was preparing to release a full public dossier naming every foreign actor involved. The bait was set. The first ripple came within 24 hours. Encrypted messages spiked across European networks, frantic attempts to cover tracks. Then came the emissaries, a low-level envoy seeking private clarification from Traoré's office. But he refused all backdoor diplomacy. Instead, he made a bold move, a public speech. Live, unscripted. No names were mentioned. No direct accusations. Only a simple message. Burkina Faso has survived betrayal because truth is stronger than manipulation. To those who still seek to own our future. Know this. The game is over. Africa will not kneel. The effect was electric. #OrchidFall trended. Across the continent, leaders from Mali to Guinea expressed solidarity. Activists flooded social media with the hashtag Africa will not kneel. And in Paris, London, Brussels, panic spread. Because what few realized was this. Traoré's team had already leaked select fragments of Orchid Fall to trusted journalists, just enough to ignite suspicion without revealing. The full deck. The old powers were trapped. Deny and risk being outed as liars. Admit and face diplomatic collapse. Meanwhile, inside the Intelligence Directorate, Mariam sat under watch, not as a prisoner but as a key. For deep inside her mind was the one thing Traoré still needed: motive. Was she a pawn, a true believer, or something more? The answer came unexpectedly. During a monitored conversation, she revealed a single name, an EU advisor she had met in Rabat, who had promised not threats but salvation, protection for her family in Europe, immunity for her brother entangled in financial scandals, and above all, the illusion that her actions would preserve stability in Burkina Faso. It was manipulation of the cruelest kind. Traoré understood, and though the personal wound burned, he now saw the true enemy, not the woman he had married, but the foreign architects who had turned her into a weapon. The next move would be his boldest yet. He ordered the controlled release of a classified communiqué, a message sent through diplomatic channels to the European Union. Greater than Burkina Faso retains all evidence of external interference. We offer one path, a formal acknowledgement, an end to covert destabilization, and a new relationship, one based on respect, not control. Refuse, and the full truth goes global. Silence followed, but not for long. Within 3 days, European media outlets began shifting tone, cautiously reporting concerns over past intelligence activities and calling for new engagement with West Africa. The narrative was turning because Traoré had seized it. And as the trap closed on the old networks, a new question emerged. What would happen to Mariam? The answer, as always, came not from weakness but from strength. In a private message broadcast to the nation, Ibrahim Traoré addressed his people and the world. Betrayal wounds, but justice is not vengeance. Let those who have erred face truth, not hatred. And let Africa rise, free of old chains, stronger for what we have endured. With that, he ordered that Mariam be placed under protected custody, not as a prisoner of war but as a citizen who would face the law and history in full view of the people. The message was clear. Even when the heart is broken, the nation must stand whole. In Part 4, we will witness the final reckoning, the global fallout, the fate of the conspirators, and how Ibrahim Traoré will turn this personal betrayal into a new doctrine of African sovereignty. Subscribe now to the Voice of Ibrahim Traoré, because when darkness falls, it is the light of truth that must rise, the only place where shadows are exposed and courage shines. You followed the betrayal, the operation, the global fallout, but now the final chapter unfolds. If you haven't subscribed, do it now, because in this part, the pain of one man becomes the strength of a continent. The revelations had shaken the highest circles of power, not just in Burkina Faso, but across Europe's intelligence networks. Orchid Fall was exposed. The puppet strings had been cut. And yet, the war was not won. In the aftermath, diplomats whispered of reset. Corporations scrambled to cover their tracks. And the old architects of influence plotted one last move to discredit Traoré himself, painting him as a tyrant blinded by personal vengeance. But Ibrahim Traoré was already moving beyond them. For while the foreign operative schemed, he drafted a new vision, not just for Burkina Faso, but for every African nation tired of being manipulated, the doctrine of the unbroken heart. It began with a simple principle: no leader can defend a nation if he cannot master the wounds of betrayal. No people can stand free if they cling to hatred. And so, instead of secret trials or purges, Traoré chose radical transparency. The evidence of Orchid Fall, the files, the names, the blackmail plots would be shown not in private, but in a public tribunal, streamed to the nation. Greater than let the people judge. Let the truth burn brighter than the lies. The announcement stunned the world. Western legal advisors warned of diplomatic consequences. Certain African elites whispered of recklessness. But the people, the miners, the farmers, the students, rallied. Across Ouagadougou, murals appeared. Our land, our truth, our future. And as the day of the tribunal dawned, the city held its breath. In the great civic hall, under the flag of a sovereign Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré entered, not in military dress but in the plain cloth of his people. There was no anger. On his face only resolve. And when Miriam was brought forth, veiled, pale, the room fell silent. Traoré rose and spoke, his voice steady, his words unbroken. Betrayal wounds the heart. But if we let pain become hatred, we betray ourselves. Let this not be the story of a husband and a wife. Let it be the story of a nation that chose truth over fear. With that, he ordered that all testimony be public, all judgment delivered by an open tribunal of citizens in law. And as the evidence poured forth, the people saw not only the depth of the conspiracy, but the strength of their leader. For, in every word and every choice, Ibrahim Traoré showed that true power is not in crushing enemies, but in standing firm when your very soul has been struck. Across Africa, leaders watched. From Mali to Guinea to Congo, messages arrived of support, of admiration, of a new path forward. In Europe, in the very halls where Orchid Fall had been born, panic turned to resignation. For Traoré had done what no one expected. He had transformed personal tragedy into a doctrine of national strength. In the weeks that followed, the doctrine of the unbroken heart spread beyond Burkina Faso. Pan-African forums debated it. Youth movements embraced it. The idea that sovereignty begins within. That betrayal does not end the fight, but sharpens it. And as for Miriam, the tribunal ruled with wisdom. Her citizenship would remain, but her public role was ended. She would face justice, but not exile. For to exile her would be to deny the people the right to learn from her fall. And Ibrahim? He stood tall, scarred, but unbroken. In his closing address, broadcast to millions, he spoke the words that would echo across a continent. Let the world know they tried to use love to break us. They failed, because our love for our land, for our freedom, is stronger than their fear. And so, the story ends, not with bitterness, but with resolve. A leader betrayed, but a nation awakened. A marriage broken, but a future rebuilt. And across Africa, a new truth taking root. Greater than we will not be divided. We will not be sold. We will not kneel. Subscribe to the voice of Ibrahim Traoré, because the battles ahead will be harder still, and you will want to see every chapter. Until next time, stand strong. Stand free. If you follow this story and believe in a future where African nations speak with one voice, stand on their own feet, and reclaim their own narrative, we invite you to stay with us. Subscribe to our channel, The Voice of Ibrahim. Traoré, and be part of a growing movement that believes in truth, dignity, and sovereignty. This is not the end of the story. It is only the beginning.